welcome to the India Congress Community Show. Great to meet you again.
Yes, hi Deepak ji. First of all, thanks for inviting me, and it's always a pleasure communicating with you in any forum that we meet.
There's been talk about a new brand emerging from the stables of Livspace. It's a very interesting name called Vinciago. What's Vinciago and what are you aiming to achieve with this brand extension?
Thanks for bringing this up, Deepak ji. It's a very interesting question, very close to all of us who are building it here. So Vinciago is a premium interiors brand extension by the house of Livspace. So it goes by the name of Vinciago by Livspace. In Vinciago, we specifically cater to the premium and luxury home segment who are looking for complete home interior solutions. As we see over the time, and specifically in this time, the premiumization of the real estate, how real estate is moving towards, a large part of real estate is moving towards premium homes, and that is translating into a premium and luxury home interior needs specifically, and that is gaining traction and is becoming a very sizable portion of the market now. We at Livspace was already doing it, actually, along with all the orders that we are doing, but we felt it'll be better if we can carve out a brand extension by the name Vinciago that specifically caters to this segment and build a full-fledged offering and an experience around this segment.
You mean to say first that this is the reflection of the trends that are appearing in the real estate segment? Premiumization, you said.
That is true.
How would Vinciago be different from your conventional offerings? What Livspace has been known for?
Right. See, the ethos obviously, Deepak ji, remains same. The Livspace fundamentally when emerged from the need of customers looking for a hassle-free, convenient, a good design experience, and we believe a large part of the market is unorganized. You take whatever segment of the industry that even it's a value segment, an aspirational premium segment, or any other material-based cut also we do. A large part of the market is unorganized, always. So the need for Livspace as a brand to emerge stemmed from the fact that customers wanted a branded solution for their home interior needs. The kind of money consumers spending and the kind of emotional attachment and the one-time kind of purchase that home interior is, they need a more, I would say, a better solution, a branded solution that can cater to those needs. And as the market, organized market, Deepak ji, I would say is developing over time. And I think it's been quite, you know this market since, forever it was born actually in India, is emerging. I think many more segments will emerge independently also, rather than, putting every customer segments into just one bucket. And one trend which is emerging from, we discussed from real estate as well, and also the more urbanization and willingness to pay, which is increasing for Indian customer and Indian household, is the whole premiumization, and which is well reflected in the data. And we thought we'll carve out a specific brand extension by the name Vinciago, which is focused on this segment, where the entire experience, the ethos remains the same, but the entire experience is very focused on this particular segment, which means the kind of designers that we have, the kind of product solutions that we are offering, the kind of experience center we have. Entire thing is very, is 100% aligned to the premium and luxury customer segment, which itself is emerging to be a very large, significant customer segment and a very high growth segment in India real estate now.
Okay, so let's look at it from the customer point of view.
Sure.
When you say premiumization, so what is it that the premium customer is looking for? You spoke about experience, you spoke about products, you spoke about all aspects of Vinciago. So from the customer point of view, what do you think is the customer seeking while going towards premiumization?
Deepak ji, if we can split needs into two things, one is which is more hygiene and table stake needs, and one is which are more the wow needs, I would say, customer. one is, the whole convenience, hassle-free solution, so that customer don't have to spend a lot of time and energy on the project, becomes a hygiene in this factor. But a good differentiated bespoke design becomes a must-have when you come to this sector, because here the willingness to pay for every item increases a lot. Customer is also more evolved in terms of the choices that they have, kind of, the experiences that they have, and also the amount of money that they can spend. So their choices on the design are much more evolved. They are much more international in many ways, and they're much more bespoke also. I think so there is a need to specifically cater to those bespoke design requirements and still have a predictable operations that can deliver to the bespoke requirement that the customer need. I would say that managing that equilibrium lies at the heart of this.
When you use the word predictable, so this takes me back to 2014, when I think around the time when Livspace was born. And Anuj at that time spoke at India Kitchen Congress. And I
Yes.
remember vividly his using the same words, that we want to bring predictability into the home decor space. And of course, he was coming from his own experiences of being a house owner, trying to decorate his home, and he narrated his story, which was, I think, touched the hearts of many others in the audience. So predictability, yes, I know. And I think you are using, if I'm not mistaken, technology to
Yes,
build in predictability.
that is
And
true.
the other word of predictability, I would say, is trust.
Mhm.
So in effect, you are using technology. That means all the platform, the ability to work online, interact with customers, commit to deadlines, and increase transparency. All that, I think, all that builds into the trust factor. So you are using technology to offer trust to the customer.
That can be very well put, actually, how you're saying, because see, eventually fundamental technology helps you manage scale a lot. And back when Anuj used the word predictability, and you rightly picked, it is very core of what we do at Livspace. We always wanted to do thousands and thousands of homes and projects, have a serve many and thousands of customers, right? Which means we always visualize the kind of scale we will get in the future. And to manage those scale in a predictable fashion, which means to deliver home at the right time, at the right quality, at the right price point, underlying technology infrastructure is a must. I think back when Anush spoke about it in 2014, it might look, I would say, a distant sort of reality to also many. But as years have gone by, a decade has gone by, actually, you know, I think people are seeing, and we ourselves are also seeing the benefit of creating that underlying technology.
Right.
Right from demand generation to designer workflows to visualizations to supply chain, deep supply chain integrations that we do. It helps manages the scale really well, because in our industry, the designs are very personalized. As many people say, it's batch size one in most of the cases. They're they're very personalized design. And to handle those personalized designs at this scale needs a control on various moving parts, be it how they translate into manufacturing drawings, how they translate into information to people working on site, how they translate into information to raw material providers, and so on and so forth. And technology really helps in streamlining those, arranging those. In fact, scale helps technology get better continuously every day. In fact, the scale that many smaller studios fear becomes a motivator when you have technology in place, because it makes you better every day. You have more data points to learn, right? So that is definitely at the heart of a Livspace experience that we stand for. In addition to that, Vinciago will be much more bespoke to cater to his customers. Very bespoke.
Could you also spell out what might be the more premium products that you'll be using in terms of, say, finishes or materials or appliances? Will there be a different set of brands that will be visible in Vinciago projects?
Right. So there'll be different set of materials, different set of brands that will be visible in Vinciago. There will be different set of manufacturing base, contractor base for Vinciago, the designer also. So it is a completely different people process stack that we are building for Vinciago. Obviously, the underlying technology remains at the core of the platform that allows us to create a brand extension in this space. That remains same, but everything else in a way changes to the focused consumer needs. And as Deepakji, we learn consumer needs more, we'll add more and more brands. For example, consumer here, and we are seeing are preferring a lot of membranes actually, and a lot of intricate designs on membrane. For example, on shutters, a lot of PU people are preferring on kitchen shutters. There's a lot of usage of glass that we are seeing. A lot of premium laminates that we are seeing. We are adding those in the catalog, and construction changes are also there in many cases. A lot of application changes of various site work, that are required to achieve the kind of bespoke and premium finishes that the customer really expects in their home. So I think all of that in a way changes.
To what extent is it possible to go bespoke? I mean, is it now going to be possible to print your own designs, have your own designs on the membranes?
Yes, that's a possibility. See, obviously, it will start with a more controlled environment, but as we serve more and more customers, the selection start getting bigger and bigger, and eventually it should, and given the backend technology is also emerging in many exciting ways now, it is possible, it nowadays, to actually print your own design, in the products that you own at your home. So it should go to that level.
What are the various segments that you have identified in your almost 10-year journey at Livspace?
First, see, we started with what we call as a full home design, which used to range in the, I would say 10 to 20 lakhs kind of home interiors, end-to-end home interiors, where a customer has bought a new apartment and wants to get it completely sort of interior done and furnished, right? Which includes kitchens, wardrobes, painting, false ceiling, sofas, beds, everything at one place, right? So that was the first customer segment that we started with, which we expanded to all the metro cities, all the tier 1 cities of India, actually. At the same time, obviously, kitchen and wardrobe as a product becomes a core part of our supply chain. So then what we call as internally as a Livspace Select, which is a kitchen and wardrobe focused offering, also started emerging really well, wherein a customer is largely looking for a modular furniture like kitchens, wardrobe, study table, and foyer, because a large part of the work maybe is done by the builder, or maybe they're getting done through small portion to contractors, and it's the woodwork which is the critical work. So that's where the second offering, I would say, evolved at Livspace, and that offering had a wider reach because it started from the metro cities, went to tier 1, went to tier 2 cities also, and is now also, very interestingly, as we are speaking, is going to tier 3 cities of India as well. Many of the tier 3 cities that we used to talk about tier 3 are actually not tier 3 anymore. They're just labeled as tier 3, very frankly. So they are, I think, based on our assessment, they're closer to 150, 200 cities more. We are leveraging a lot of our, dealer connect, franchisee partner kind of network to help us establish base there. But it's definitely on our, key priorities to expand that offering across India now, in every city of India.
At that level, at tier 2 and tier 3 level, there is possibility to compete with the local carpenter?
Yes, definitely, yes. I think the shift from unorganized to organized, the shift towards branded products and solution, that shift is not just happening in metro or tier 1 cities. This shift is happening to till tier 3 cities and beyond also in India right now as we speak. A lot of factors have obviously changed it. A lot of macro factors have changed it. And it is not in our industry, in a lot of other industries, the shift has already happened. In a lot of fashion private labels, a lot of electronics private labels have already reached these customer segments. And in many of these categories, the tier 3 is close to 30 to 35% of their sales now. In FMCG, it has already been there because they had such a wide distribution reach. I think for our industry, I firmly believe this is a time that organized industry needs to go deep into these 200, 250 cities of India now. There's a wide acceptance. I think the internet has also, Deepak ji, helped a lot in terms of building awareness.
Yes.
As you know, people are on the internet, they're consuming a lot of content, they're reading, browsing design, reading about things, and it's an opportunity for every organized player in a way to serve those customer segments.
Price inelasticity, which we used to read about, that India is a very price inelastic market. That is no longer true, or things are changing now?
Price is a very important factor, definitely, but I think India is very heterogeneous in nature. There are various segments, and it is evolving in a different pace.
Okay.
There's definitely one segment and large segment of Indian consumer base where to get things, where to shop from brand is the primary mode of operations. And only when they get disheartened, they move to other solutions.
Okay.
I think, and it has happened with maybe many of us in our local daily purchases also. I think the first set of purchase that we do is through brands. And
Right.
then if you're not satisfied, we move to maybe a
Because
local solution.
there's a trust factor.
Because there's a trust factor.
If you see an open atta or a grain, and then you see a packed one, there is a tendency to pick up the packed grain.
Right. So trust is you rightly said, trust is a major driving factor why people are moving towards brand. And as long as brand is fulfilling that trust, they tend to grow bigger and bigger.
In these remote areas, how do you ensure the serviceability, the service side? Of course, marketing is one thing, closing the
Definitely.
deal is another thing, execution, okay, I believe that a lot of your work is done off-site. But going deep into the country and then completing the project, making sure that everything is ship shape out before you move out, how is that ensured?
That's very important. I think the last 5% of the project, if you ask me, lies in the hands of, our trained installers fundamentally. And as we going into these cities, and it happened, Deepak ji, by the way, in Metro and Tier 1 as well. With the kind of scale that we had, the industry actually did not have enough trained manpower for that kind of requirement. So, we internally also now, we tend to have a program for people if they want to relocate to their base cities. And many of them are opting to, which is also serves as a sort of base capacity for us. And many people are opting for that.
The people who are working for you mean the skilled,
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So it's a very good program, and people are moving to their sort of, base city. They're very happy. Actually, Livspace is expanding to their own base city, and now they can go back and, actually don't be a nomad and actually go back to their home location. So that's one. Second, we work with a lot of partners and develop the trained manpower base together. And some of it obviously comes from our own referral base also at this scale. And we tend to develop that. But partner development, especially at the installation level, is a key job to maintain the kind of quality that we need at a scale. I would say that's a very good investment that we will have to we'll have to do to achieve the quality that we want.
Used a very interesting phrase, deep integration in your supply chain. What does that mean? What is your supply chain like? Where are your factories? Where do you manufacture all the orders that you procure?
See, there are two big components to our supply chain, and then I'll build over that. So one is the manufacturing base for all the products that we use, and second is the contractor base for all the kind of services that we do on site. I think these are two different worlds altogether. So if we look at the manufacturer base, further the manufacturer base has a second degree of supply chain with all the raw material providers, like soft plywood, hardware, and many more surfaces, for example, that we use. Similarly, for the contractor base, the second degree of supply chain is various kind of finished or intermediary products that they consume, that they need at site, maybe, right? Various kind of paints, for example, glass or sealing solutions, etc., that they need, right? So both are a different kind of supply chain and need a different technology stack and different process stack to fulfill it. We will go into the manufacturing stack a bit more. So Livspace technology is integrated from design to factory. In fact, inside the factory to machines of the factory, the raw material zone of the factory, to the raw material level as well. So for example, if we talk about a module is a summation of panels and hardware. And a panel is further, as a product of various kind of material coming together in some quantities, right? So I think that kind of equation is built in the platform so that at any point of time, for any order, we can track the finished component, we can track the intermediary component, we can also track the raw material that will be used for this product. And the technology, through various kind of IDs, barcodes, and various mechanism integrates all of this together to manage, material movement which is happening. So our factories, to answer your question now, our factories are mostly located regionally. So we work in the concept of, north factories in a way, south factories, west factories, east factories. They're more regionally located, and the raw material is more India located in many levels, and many materials are also global in nature. They come from outside India as well, and that is sort of a feeder to all these regional factory network who work on Livspace proprietary technology, the catalog, very quality control, heavy quality control, and we ship products from there through a fulfillment center to customer site.
But do you own your factories where all the furniture is made?
No, we do not own, but we are in exclusive and long-term contractual agreements with our factories.
And once the material reaches the site, and then your team moves in to do the installation.
We have very trained installers who have trained on our products specifically, and all the drawings and part component drawings, everything is already tool generated, and they do the installation. And it also has a flexibility of any reverse logistics, for example, needed. If a component is wrong and somebody needs to order just one panel, we can punch in the barcode of that panel, and that gets triggered to the supply chain again and gets delivered to the site.
From the point of view of budgeting, if a consumer, if a house owner has to do up his home, what proportion would of the budget would go into the kitchen and wardrobes?
For new homes and for, I would say, renovation homes, it differs a lot.
Okay.
For new homes, by new homes, I mean the new apartments that have come up, where builders give the house in a particular shape or form. Now, a large part of that is woodworking, which means close to 50 to almost 70-75% people spend on kitchens, wardrobes, TV units, power units, these components.
Okay.
A very high percentage of that. Because, the builder gives, the walls are made in a way. Walls are already painted also in many ways. The flooring is done. Like the bathrooms also are pretty much done. So there the component tends to be much higher for them. But if you go to the renovation homes, where in a way it's just a sort of, flat slab today, and even the walls need to be constructed, etc. This component generally goes to close to 30 to 50%.
So in a new home, there's likely to be almost a 70% spent on kitchen and wardrobe.
Roughly, yeah, 2/3 you can say. Roughly, it'll be there. Yeah.
So let's go back a bit towards the real estate, the way it is transforming. You mentioned that many more handovers are happening now. That means completions, we are having more completions. And I think there's also a trend of customers preferring more ready apartments rather than going in for bookings. And also premiumization, as you mentioned. So,
Right.
how are builders changing the way they make their apartments and sell them? Are they fitting out their apartments before selling them, or are they just offering them as a shell? What is the trend here?
On that trend, nothing considerably has changed. Uh, Apartments that are getting delivered by the builder to the homeowner is largely bare shell in nature. They're not getting a lot of pre-fitted apartment, maybe because of further increase of real estate prices that may be witnessing. But so that trend hasn't changed. However, the size of the apartment, the price of the apartment, the configuration and the mix, that has changed a lot over the recent years.
Mm-hmm. But do you think there's going to be a change in this trend also, where apartments will come pre-fitted with kitchens or wardrobes, so that the customer doesn't really have to bother about these two major projects? Do you think builders will start dealing with you directly?
We tie up with builders to obviously capture the customer at an up funnel level together right now as well. But I don't see a lot of builders moving to a pre-fitted apartment kind of concept as of yet. Maybe the customers in, I think what probably is happening in India is the homeowners who are buying these apartments are typically first-time homeowners,
Mm.
and they have a strong point of view, uh, emotional and financial both, of how they have to live in this home. And maybe it will be the first and last home also for many of them.
Okay.
Right. So at this point of time, that is the primary consumer for the space. And they and for builder to give a pre-fitted apartment might not gel with a large part of the consumer segment as of yet. But if in future, let's say the consumer base changes towards a more transient living consumer base,
Or the second home, perhaps.
then see, second home, it is much more actually, if you ask me. They
Okay.
are much more evolved customers.
Acha.
They have much more personalized and bespoke preferences now because they have done the first home themselves. I think maybe to a customer base where they have to move a lot, where
Right.
people are buying, but still maybe it's not the last home that they will bet, or maybe they'll be in the city for a couple of years and then they'll move to other, etc. I'm just sort of hypothesizing if that kind of consumer base comes in, that lends itself very well to the pre-fitted
Fitted.
base. But if it's a first time or second time homeowner who wants to live there, like for a longer duration, or
Mm.
to, it becomes very difficult to, it's a very constrained solution for them. Everybody has so much different preferences.
Yes.
I think when we talk about kitchens is, it's a very homogeneous word then. But I mean, what goes inside, how it changes, the lifestyle, food habits, cooking habits, is so starkly different for different people. I don't, I don't imagine actually Indian consumers changing that, or, will live with a very constrained solution in their home. I mean, home is a very emotional topic.
You are right, but do you think there's a possibility that the customer is able to change the shutters to get that personalization, because the car case, the storage side is more or less a given. You can do only so much of variation in the storage design. It's the shutters and the colors of the surfaces that need to be personalized.
I view this as a very theoretical solution. See, changing shutters is just an aesthetics of a product. This product is not merely aesthetics, it is very functional in nature. How you use them, how many shelves, where is the hanging rod, for example, even wardrobe we talk about, right? Even in kitchen, which direction also. People are changing the direction also of the cooking,
I see.
sink size, hob size. Again, and with the again, appliances and accessories also increasingly becoming important, it has become more and more functional.
Okay.
rather than just aesthetics, actually just lifestyle. So I would still see, as a consumer myself also, I still see that as a very constrained solution imposed on me when I'm doing such a high value purchase. And what will I save? Maybe, just a couple of thousands, maybe, where I have to live forever.
Okay.
So I think a bit more flexibility have to come in for that solution to get accepted, or maybe target a customer who don't consider that space as a permanent abode for them and want to change. Maybe, yeah.
Do you think with your coming into the onto the home decor scene, along with your huge stack of technology, you've brought about a change in the way designers work?
Definitely, yes, I would say. See, there's a huge change in the way designers work now at Livspace, at least, and many in the organized world, I would say. And I think that change is also impacting the unorganized segment also at a daily level, right? And for good, for better, because things are starting becoming more consumer centric. You see, like these the wallets and UPIs, even in small tea shops today, right? So I think that's how deep technology in India has touched everybody. I think no small business, however small, no large business was can actually become ignorant to these technology. In fact, people have changed the way they communicate now, right? And to our sector also, which is such an important and a large sector, I think a technology was missing, and which was very very important for our sector. And I think for better, there's a technology now that touches various key stakeholders of a project. That includes designer, that includes draftsman, that includes customer, that includes manufacturer, raw material, everybody actually, right? Um, and it has become it obviously it gives you a lot. The technology gives you a lot of ease. The technology also helps you expand your business multifolds, you know, because it takes away a lot of time that is getting wasted over other things which are not necessary. The technology also is I think is a necessity in a way if you have to just keep up with the time. And I think those are the changes which have happened. In the early years of technology, it might feel constrained also. I agree with that. But technology also improves very fast after that. That it becomes really unconstrained. It becomes a lot of flexible also. And I think over the years that has also happened with the technology that this industry has seen. And now you see many independent software solutions also that are coming into the picture, which are getting adopted by a lot of independent architects, designers, and everybody. And I would definitely, I think Livspace played a really important role in just not bring technology to the Livspace stakeholders, but for the industry in general.
Could you describe how an independent designer's life has changed since they tied up with Livspace?
Let's say when an independent designer joins Livspace, I think the first is when you're an independent, you have to generate your own business every month on month. You have to continuously think about how do you do business development, how do you get new prospects to meet you. I think with Livspace, with the brand that we have and the marketing engines that we have, it it is not their core job to generate those prospects. It becomes very easier for them. They could essentially focus on designing job that they love and the customer interactions that they love actually. So that's the first part, which is a very significant load for an independent designer or any independent person running their own shop in a way, because that consumes almost 50-60% of your bandwidth, right? So that's the first. Second, there's a lot of support system in terms of a lot of independent designers search the suppliers in real time. Like they design something and then search for the supply chain for that. And sometimes the vendor is available, not available, the product is out of stock, and there are limitations and inefficiencies of that supply chain. At Livspace, they are given a tool which already has taken care of this completely, and it is dynamic in nature, so that nobody has to search for the supply chain for that or the supply for that, right? It's a the price is already there, if the costs are changing in a very dynamic world now, it is already reflecting there. If something is out of stock, it is reflecting there. If there are new items that have come up in the market, it's already there. So it's very easy to now, stay sort of abreast with all the trends that is happening, or all the new things which are happening, or the old things which are going away. So it has made designers, very convenient, in a very convenient way, to design. And thirdly, the interactions that you have with customers, the meetings, sharing of various BOQs and files. I think in many ways used to happen on a lot of papers, a lot of digital format also, but they weren't digitally integrated. People used to do a lot of versioning control themselves. And if you ask a designer now, it is a hassle, because things change a lot. So those kind of management of design assets
Okay.
has become very easier with the tools, right? And last, which is not the least, the predictable outcome that we talked about, because eventually that is where all of it, the happiness of the customer, or the experience lies, has become seamless. So I think it's a complete ecosystem change in the way people used to work in a non-Livspace world versus in a Livspace world. And it is our complete focus that we continue to evolve this for better every day. We truly believe, and a person like designer, should get more exposure to technology every day.
Very interesting phrase you used, the live space world and outside the live space world. So you are almost an ecosystem for the designer, for the
Yes.
material supplier, for the installer, the contractor. But tell me, you also mentioned that you are going to be entering into many new geographies, right down to tier 3, and you are
Yes.
envisaging doing businesses 150 plus cities in India, which is a huge market. How do you enter a market? How do you manifest your presence in a new market? Is it all online? You just sign up with designers over there, or what?
Large part of the beginning of the city is definitely online. I think if we talk about consumer acquisition channels, a large part of this is online to begin with. But then obviously we have to be present in city in person. An experience center plays a very pivotal role in our journey, which is a display of our products where customers can meet designers in the city. That is, I would say, online and experience center become the two pivotal points for us for the launch. We cannot, I would say, exist without either of them, if you ask me. Both of them are really key to us, because the online captures the eyeballs and experience center makes it real in a way. So I think everything revolves around these two. So then you have an experience center, so you have people sitting there, you have products which people can see. Online gets you the eyeballs and gets you people at the experience center. Then you meet people at the experience center, close the booking, close the design. Supply chain is anyway central in nature in many ways.
So how many experience centers do you have as of now?
So we have close to 60 experience centers today.
Okay. In 60 different cities?
In
Almost?
close to 40, 45, 50 cities that we are in. Yeah, not 60. So some cities have multiple experience centers also. Larger cities at least have multiple experience centers. Yeah.
And who runs these centers? Are they company owned, or do you have partners?
So large part of these experience centers are company owned. But as we expand to more tier 3 cities, we will see many experience centers being partner owned as well.
So what kind of a proposition are you offering to your partners?
The partnership is very simple, very straightforward in this case. And many of these tier 3 cities, we are looking for a local established partner in that city, whom they will be essentially run the experience center, as we say, will be responsible for the entire operations on the playbook that we have. But it will be heavily under the guidelines as established by Livspace, and Livspace supply chain and installer base will take care of the operations essentially. But the sales, the BD sales, and the order raising essentially will be done by the Livspace partner, because we firmly believe that these partners have a very strong connect in these tier 3 cities that we are talking about. So both of us can combine together, leverage each other's strength, and with the strong brand and strong ops network that Livspace has, we together can capture a good share of the market there. So that's the proposition, very attractive. And as we speak, team on ground is looking for partners in actually these 150, 200 cities. And many of them we are closing, and you will see really exciting news about Livspace launching on a daily basis in a
Okay.
new city actually.
Okay, the rollout is already on.
Yes, the rollout is already on.
How many such partners do you envisage setting up in, say, the coming calendar year in 2024?
Our ambition is to close around close to 70 to 80 such partners in
Okay,
this in the upcoming calendar year actually,
I see.
in
And
that range.
and what kind of investments will they have to make?
The capex of the experience center along with the operating expense of the experience center will be put in by the partner. The center is around close to, in many cases, 500 700 square feet and close to 1000 1500 square feet as well, right? So the typical investment ranges anywhere between 30 lakhs to 60 lakhs on capex, and a couple of lakhs is an operating expense. It is a Livspace experience center, and we definitely want to leverage the brand equity that Livspace has established and want to widen our reach continuously. And see, we have and I'm telling you, Deepak ji, this again, see, I think tier 3 markets will surprise all the organized brands. It is very deep, very high propensity to pay. And I won't be surprised if this is, close to even 1/4, like 25-30% of the business
I see.
someday.
So I'm sure you must have done a lot of homework at the ground before arriving at this model and rolling it out. I think the Indian homeowner is in for a very good time with organizations like you who are so transparent, who are building trust on the basis of technology and trying to bring joy to the homeowner truly, because this is something which was really missing, the trust factor. At least 10 years
Yeah,
back, even not even 10 years back. I mean, it's very difficult for someone to hand over a huge amount of money as an advance to a contractor.
that's true.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's very difficult. I think, see, it's a very high ticket purchase, very emotional purchase. You can't go wrong with this purchase. It's very, and how the purchasing shopping behavior is evolving. It's impossible if you, for example, if you don't know the service provider for many, many years, it's impossible to put that trust onto somebody. And how Indian demographic consumer is changing. I think a branded solution of the sorts was a must, very frankly. Sort of, real estate also on uptrend from here on, and how market is evolving into an organized market, how consumers are loving us. A lot of supply base that has grown really stronger. I think in all of this, the ecosystem has also become very resilient, very strong, very mature. I think it'll be just, in my view, good way from here on.
Well, I think you brought about a cultural change, cultural shift in the interior design and contracting space, powered by technology and powered by your designers.
We have just scratched the surface. The Indian household home market is very, very deep. I think a lot of segments that can come up, a lot of customers latent demand that is still there, still not being able to serve because of maybe awareness issues, consideration issues, the kind of purchase issues, price point, selection, all of that. So I think from here we might see a much more accelerated curve than we
Absolutely.
have seen in the last 6, 7, 8 years, maybe.
Because
I think for all of us.
the initial stages are of experimentation and acceptance.
Yes.
Once
Yes.
acceptance is there, then you take off and the curve rises steeply.
Exactly. So it should ideally, grow multifold, and what should surprise all of us actually, how the industry overall will grow from here on.
Well, it has happened with the Olas and the Ubers and the urban companies. Initially,
Right.
there was resistance. But once
Right.
that trust factor was built in, the transparency was there, you could see the pricing was worked out. Now it's a default behavior.
It's an everyday behavior actually. It's a default behavior. You rightly said actually. It's the first way you envisage that to happen. And the behavior that used to be is an archaic behavior. So hope that comes to our industry as well
No,
someday.
it is coming. You
I think
brought it. You already brought it. You brought people to imagine that and to at least experiment with it. And as your success stories increase in number, you already spawned a tech-driven interiors industry. I mean, you were the first, but there are so many others who have followed in your path. And now there's
right.
no going back, I believe.
Then there's no going back. And I think along with not just in our industry, how technology and internet is touching in India in all the sectors, in every sector that you talked about.
Hmm.
Every purchase actually daily. So many apps on your phone, so much browsing of content that is happening. If you sir see in how last 10 years how Indian consumers have evolved is
Yes,
itself is a different story altogether.
a great success story.
Yes. For the entire, I mean, not just the home interior, but the Indian
Indian
consumption story.
across, yes, consumption story. You said it right.
Great. It's great. I mean, and the customers have evolved so rapidly to a new solution. For all of us also to see that was, I mean, see, nobody could have predicted it would happen that way. But all Indian customers, as we are talking about, even smallest of the tea shops, for example, are using technology. Daily payment collection, billions of transactions happening on UPI. I'm sure all of us are reading that. Who could have imagined that 10 years back?
Well, Saurabh, thanks for joining me on this podcast and sharing your deep insights about the Indian consumer mindset and also about how Livspace is changing the way we are all going to live and build our homes.
Thanks, Deepak ji, for inviting me. Thank you.
It's always a pleasure talking to you.